Hi, I'm Charlie, and I'm currently a runner for Smuggler, which is a commercial production company. So a runner kind of does everything and anything. You could be making teas and coffees 1 minute, running around Soho trying to find a chocolate bar the next minute, or you could be delivering hard drives the next. So really, you're the person who picks up the slack, but everyone else needs to be done. Lots of work. There are two types of runners on the whole. So there's an in-house runner, there's a runner on set, or like a production runner. In-house, they can be fairly standard office hours. So when it comes to in-house, maybe the hardest aspect is really getting to know everyone's names and knowing what their tea order is. That's probably the most important thing. And with being on set, it has to be the hours. As minimum, you're probably looking at 12 to 13 hours a day, not including the commute. And they're usually pretty early as well. What does it take to be a good runner? I would say the most important thing, especially from the perspective of you working with lots of people, talking with lots of people, trying to help lots of people in, a very stressful situation with long hours, is to try and be as accommodating to people's needs as you can be. I think if you're not a people person, it's a very difficult role, as you have to be very sympathetic of every other person on that set is doing 10 other things. So it's trying to help where you can. It's trying to do what you probably think you can't do, but you kind of have to in that moment to make it work. And I think if you haven't got the passion or the drive to want to work with people, to work in production, then I think it's something that you would really struggle with. The best part of being a runner for me so far has to be the people, which sounds incredibly corny and generic, but I've done lots of different works. I've worked in retail. I've worked in a different aspect of film. I've worked in like script development and stuff like that. But there's a real sense of camaraderie. I mean, when you're with people 12 hours a day for a full week and it's non-stop go, you really build up these connections and these bonds. And, I'm constantly messaging people I've met from on set. And at the end of it, there's this real sense of pride. I mean, I remember at the end of my first shoot, they shouted, it's a wrap on the Friday, the last day. And literally everyone was hugging each other, clapping, kissing each other. And that's like very typical of what you can expect. And it's just the most amazing, best feeling, especially if you've done like a 60 to 80 hour work week minimum. So no, it's fantastic. It's for people. And at the end of it, you actually see a tangible product. You see a commercial, a TV episode, a film, and I love it. The journey I imagine myself going on with career ambitions probably would be along the lines of going from working as a runner to probably third assistant director to second assistant director to first assistant director and maybe director. So just getting as much on-set experience as I can to get it. But it's a very hard transition making it up the pyramid. So I've got a long way ahead of me, but I'm really enjoying the journey so far. My experience with my first job in film was, I think I typed into Google something as simple as how to get a job in film and production. But about maybe 50 websites came up. I checked out my first job in film and it seemed actually reputable. So I thought I would give it a go. Sure enough, signed up for it and saw all of these different opportunities that came up and just applied to all the ones which were relevant to me. Sure enough, I mean, within a couple of weeks of me doing some applications, I started to hear back from people and started to figure out more and more what I wanted to do, what kind of works and what doesn't. And obviously the opportunities are so varied as well. I mean, it could be a week here, a couple of months there, on set, in studio, in the office. So it's really just trying to navigate what works for you. And for me personally, with this latest experience at Smuggler, I applied, I think, on the Wednesday, got an email on the Thursday, and then had the job by the Friday. And it was just as simple as that. To be sure, while I, with this latest experience, had a lot of luck with it all going through so soon, there was a couple of months spate before that where I wasn't getting as much luck. And in all honesty, it was to do with my attitude applying for applications. I think the most important thing going into any entry-level role with film, with TV, with commercial is being hardworking, definitely, but having a really good positive attitude because it is so intense and it is hardworking. So if you can't get on with people, or if you think people are going to be lazy or negative, it can really impact the team very quickly. I mean, I've seen a set sink within 10 minutes if someone hasn't had their tea on time. It can just be as simple as that. I think really putting your best foot forward is showing the most generous, charitable side of you. Someone who's optimistic, someone who wants to throw themselves in there, can do anything. I mean, a big question I got asked in interviews a lot were aspects concerning, if you're in the office and you asked to stay on later, what would you do? Or let's say I asked you to do this, how would you respond? And basically, I think it's just about wanting to throw yourself in. Any opportunity, any experience, and wanting to make the most of it. So just stay in there, I guess, and just apply for as much as you can. And also write personalized cover letters to each application, which is a really big one, because I thought I could be very smart and productive by just mass sending a block of them out to 15 jobs with the same cover letter and get no responses. Even if I spent as little as 5 minutes adjusting them and making them more reflective of who I am for that role and why that role would work for me, I would see drastic improvements immediately, let alone if I just wrote it from scratch. So I'd say it seems like a lot of work, but it really pays off writing a cover letter properly. My top advice to maximize your membership with My First Job in Film is to look at the daily, the weekly postings of things coming up. It seems really simple, but all of the job postings have a description attached to them. So really just take a minute and just think about what they're asking for you. I mean, I guess the way I see it is they want to give you the position. You just need to persuade them that you're the person for it. So if they're telling you they want someone with this experience, or they come from this background, or they know how to do X, Y, and Z, you want to emphasize those attributes about yourself. So just really make sure you're reading what's there. I guess my words of wisdom to anyone who's feeling pretty hard done by trying to get into film, as almost everyone has felt trying to get into film, is that everyone has been there. I did 2 degrees in film, so I know hundreds of people who have studied film and maybe only a handful of them actually do it. So it is hard. But the truth is, it's the people who stick it out that make it. In a sense, it is a numbers game. There's so many people that are so hungry for it. It's the people who keep going and going and going who get these opportunities. But rest assured, as soon as you do get a foot in the door and you are cut out for it, things just work out. Sure enough, on my first shoot, super nervous, didn't think it was going to be for me, not sure if it was going to work out. I made maybe 4 or 5 contacts, which led to further opportunities after that. It seems like it's going to be impossible getting into the industry. And even if you get there, you think, what am I going to do? But sure enough, if you're cut out for it, if it's really what you want to do, things just have a way of working out. So just stay strong.